got the dreaded P003a and 2563 codes. Common in these trucks. The turbo vanes are stuck. I've tried the vane position sensor, didn't do anything, so finally pulling the trigger and getting the turbo out. But this is day 2. I started yesterday, probably put about 2 hours into it, and was able to get the downpipe and heat shield out, and that's the transmission fluid dipstick. Just wanted to go over the troubles I had, and maybe it'll help you. The heat shield is a pain in the ass. That's the hardest part. The bolts, you can get to one or two of them from down below. I know the hardest one is way back in here. I was literally laying across here, reaching down with a, I believe it was a 12 millimeter, or was that a 10? No, it was a 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench. I was able to feel that last bolt and get it loose. But the first thing you should do really is get fender liner out, and then the transmission dipstick is going to be right up against the firewall here, and it's going to be in your way. So to get that out, you really got right behind this pipe. You're not going to be able to see it, but there's going to be 2 bolts. You'll look down on the transmission, on the dipstick, and you'll see the bracket on there, and there's 2 bolts. You just have to loosen them. I don't even know if I can get my camera in there. Maybe. Yeah, okay, you can see them both right there. I took the one nut off, and the other one I just loosened up. And then you lift up on the transmission, on the dipstick. Problem is they made it about a 1/4 inch too long, because it'll pull out right down there. But it actually hits the body before it's out of the transmission. So it's right there. You can see where it comes out at. And so you almost have to kind of bend the dipstick tube to get it out of there, but it will come out, and then you can extract it from below down. You can take it down through here, and it will go out the bottom. The heat shield, I was able to get it out the top, but that was with the help of tin snips and bending it, and just to get it around stuff. I have no intention of putting that heat shield back on. I'm gonna heat wrap the downpipe. So I didn't care about damaging my heat shield because it's not going back in there. But anyways, so as far as that goes, once that transmission dipstick is out of the way, the downpipe goes down easy. But the only thing I did, as you can see, my exhaust is completely loose, because I've taken off pretty much all the hangers all the way back. It's just sitting on the rear axle right now. So that just made it so I can move the exhaust pipe out of the way. Alright, day 3. Put about 2.5 hours in yesterday, and my parts pile is growing larger. And so I ended up getting off air intake, EGR valve, EGR cooler, and there's a heat shield on the driver's side up pipe that I was able to get loose. That was a pain. Just 4 10 millimeter bolts on it, and got it with a, oh, where is it? There it is. Just a 10 millimeter swivel ratchet wrench. I was able to get all 4 of those off, but just by reaching my arm down through there and feeling for them. You really can't get to them any other way. I think there was one on the bottom that you could get to underneath. Otherwise, the heat shield is still back there. I just kind of shoved it out of the way. I could not figure out how to get it out of there. As far as, I did break loose 4 of the 6 bolts so far on the up pipes. Wait for this car to go by. So on the up pipes, I got 4 of the 6 bolts loose. How I was able to do that was put my 1/2 inch wrench with the 12 millimeter 12 point put on the bolt, and then I put a breaker bar on it through here, and I was able to put a breaker bar on the wrench. You would be able to see it barely sticking out right down there. So breaker bar on it, and this way, broke them loose, and then just with a wrench from up top, got them loose the rest of the way. So still got a couple more there, and I think I got one more on the passenger up pipe, and then these 3 on the exhaust manifold, and then then I can get the up pipe off and move on. All right, the bottom bolt, driver's side up pipe, pain in the butt. Very hard to get to, and very hard to break loose, but this is what I came up with. Don't mind my funky breaker bar. That was for another project. But anyways, breaker bar right through there, and my wrench fell to the ground. That's okay, it's already broke loose. And 1/2-inch breaker bar with swivel socket and the 12mm. The swivel socket was just really, I needed the length. I couldn't get the wrench directly on the socket, so if you have a very short extension, that would probably do you better, because you lose all the torque with the swivel socket, but I was able to make it work. Alright, I got it out. I ended up leaving the driver's side up pipe, but it is completely loose. It's just sitting in there. So I just didn't want to fight in getting it out of there. Wow, there's a lot of junk down in there. Holy cow. Anyways, yeah, what are the difficult parts? That oil, I'm sorry, my arm's in the way. Your oil drain is right underneath that. So that's where the 2 bolts are. Those are kind of tricky to get to. What else? You know, the easy part was moving the AC compressor. 4 bolts, relocated over here. So that was easy. Oil feed line, I just kind of bungeed it over to the side. It's got flexible hose down here. What else? What did I fight? Well, just breaking all those bolts loose was no fun. But I did end up breaking most of them loose with a breaker bar through the passenger side. Anyways, turbo's out. On the workbench, I got the ring opened up. It's not wanting to come apart. I got some deep creep on it, letting it work. So see if I can come back in a little bit and see if it'll come apart a little easier. All right, got it apart. Now, one thing I can tell is, well, my unison ring is here, and it is completely glued to this side. And the vanes are actually all pretty free. Just the unison ring itself, there's a little, that one's all dirty. But the ring itself is pretty much fused on this side. So there's your problem. Alright, so I got part of it cleaned up. Let me show you one thing real quick, guys, though. So this little plunger is in there, and it's held in by a C-clip. Just pop that C-clip out, put a screw, it's threaded. Find a bolt that'll fit it. Pull that plunger out, oil is going to come out. And then you can manipulate or operate the I guess it's the unison ring, the part that operates the unison ring. Just kind of got a little tool here just with a whole bent hook. And so take my little hook tool, hook in there, and then you can operate See that moving back and forth? I didn't do a very good job. Okay, there we go. You can see that moving. Cleaned up this surface and the inside surface on the unison ring. Now that just drops in there. And that moves freely again. For this surface, the tool I found that worked the best was a Dremel with a little sanding, I guess it's a little grinder bit, but I'm sure some like one of those little sanding bits on there. And it just went around like that. Took quite a bit of time to clean that up. So use the same tool on the inside of this ring. You see it's all shiny now. But that thing was, you could barely, I had to use a screwdriver to pry this ring off before. So it was completely stuck on there. But now it's nice and free. Alright, so here's the unison ring back where it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to operate. Alright, got it back together. Before I go and install it again, I'm going to make sure plunger moves nice and free, which means my unison ring and vanes are all moving nice and easy. Now it's just time to put it back in. Alright, that's it. Just gotta get the turbo back in. That'll take me probably 2 or 3 hours tomorrow, I'm thinking. Gonna be a lot easier getting it back together when I don't have to break all those really tough to get 2 bolts loose. So anyways, if you guys got the same P003a 2563 codes, I believe the first thing I tried was the vane position sensor. That didn't do any good. Obviously my turbo was all gummed up. So anyways, I wish you luck. It's a pain in the butt, this job. I see why people charge so much for it, so good luck.